Namaste, Yoga Steps is here for you today and with another lovely tutorial to show you one more restorative pose. Last week we started with a belly lying Shavasana. This week I show you legs up the wall. And don't underestimate the power of restorative yoga. Even if it seems to be easy, yeah, it's easy to practice, but the silence, the being with yourself, kind of relaxing into the stillness, being confronted with your inner self, this can be really a challenge. And sometimes we have to be more experienced to do it. So it's just a nice way to put all of the different aspects of yoga together. You know, not only to flow and move, but also to rest and heal. And this is what restorative does for you. With all of the support of the props we are using, and you can use whatever you have at home, you give the body the opportunity to pause, to heal, to rejuvenate, and to recharge. It's kind of, think about, you know, when you're shaking something all the time, it gets out of balance. And if you just give the time to settle it down, kind of rearranging everything back into balance and back into normal. And that's so lovely to have restorative yoga for. Legs up the wall is my favorite pose. I think I do this pose every day. I think I do this pose really every day. And I can tell you often I'm falling asleep while I'm doing this pose. Really important is we are using a little bit of an inversion. It means the hips are going to be higher than the heart when we are doing legs up the wall today. I don't do this especially when I'm being on my cycle. When I'm on my cycle, my hips and my heart and my head are just going to be on the same level. So if you're being on your cycle, especially if you have the first heavy days, don't elevate your hips. If you have problems with high blood pressure or you're taking any kind of medicine for high blood pressure, ask your doctor before you're practicing, especially the inversions where your hips are higher via your heart. Also, if you have trouble with glaucoma and if you're being in the last part of your pregnancy, don't do it all. Don't practice this inversion. Or always ask before you're doing it, ask your doctor if it's going to be okay for you. In general, whatever it feels good for you, it is okay for you. That's a really important part. We have to learn to listen and to trust our bodies. And because I'm telling you this is a great pose to heal, doesn't mean you have to force yourself into doing this pose. Okay, we are doing this pose today for 10 minutes. I'm having the time for you. I'm checking the time for you. You don't have to set any timer. And you can do it longer. My favorite time is 20 up to 30 minutes. But if your feet are getting tingly, sure you want to come down. Another thing I want to mention, and I'm going to introduce this pose later, is if you cannot bring your legs up the wall because it feels too much for you, maybe for your hamstrings, maybe for other reasons in your lower back, you can put your legs on a chair. So this is another option if you want to have a little bit of an inversion, but it's too much for you. You can rest your legs on a chair, on a couch, or maybe on your bed. For today, legs up the wall pose, we use the prop, so you can either use the bolster. This is to rest the back of your hips on top of it. And if you don't have a bolster or the bolster is too high for you, what you can also use is just a few blankets. You can see I just have a few blankets here on top of each other. So whatever kind of blankets you have at home, or you can use maybe one or two bigger pillows and then place a blanket on top of it. So whatever feels that you can rest on it and your hips are a little bit higher. I'm going to show you the pose today with a bolster. And if you use the blankets, you can place the blankets right in front of the wall. So that's really okay because you have you can leave a little bit space between the back of your hips, your lower back, and the wall. And you still have enough space here to rest with the back of your hips on the blankets, just a little bit more surface available. If you use the bolster, you have round about the length of a hand from this area up to your fingertips, space in between. So you can place your hand here and then you just place the roll so it's resting in front of the wall. My favorite way to get into this pose is I'm just sitting sideways on one end of the bolster. I'm just slowly coming back and I'm rolling over. And then you can use the wall to adjust the bolster a little bit. So you want to have the back of your hips resting on top of the bolster. So I'm having my sacrum is on the bolster and I'm feeling really supported here. My shoulders, especially the upper part of my shoulder blades, are being on the floor. And then you bring your arms out to the side, your palms facing towards your body, and you just stay here. This is the basic legs up the wall pose. Remember, if you have trouble with high blood pressure, being on the first days of your cycle, or any kind of pressure with your eyes, or pregnant in the last semester, just take the support under your hips out to the side. And I just want you to stay there. If you have something to cover your eyes, you can cover your eyes. If not, just close your eyes. I'm taking care of the time. And you're just letting go. Think about water is pouring down from your legs all the way down into your pelvis area. Like a waterfall, the water is falling down. All the blood can flow down. Really helps to release tired legs and feet after a long day being at work, or maybe being on a long walk. You're also just being upside down for a while, changing the rules of gravity. It's also nice, I sometimes call this legs up the wall pose my power nap, because it's just more blood flow towards the brain, so it's kind of a refresh for your brain, and so I'm just feeling better, more relaxed to do whatever I like to do. So it's nice to do it early noon, so kind of midday, early midday, because you're just getting into the second part of your day, or maybe just to release, like I told you, feet and legs at the end of a long day, because it also calms your mind and it calms your nervous system. I leave you into stillness, and I want you to stay in this pose until you hear my voice again. Very slowly start to deepen your breath. Breathe in and out through your nose. Just swallow once or twice. If you are practicing the version with your hips resting elevated on the blankets or on the bolster, slowly bend your leg. Place one foot on the wall and place the other foot on the wall. Pull your belly in, squeeze your glute muscles a little bit and just lift away from the support and just push it out to the side and slowly come back down onto the floor. If you're being already on the floor, you just can stay. And then if you put your legs back up straight, just bend your knees in towards your chest and just roll onto your side, supporting your head with your arm. Stay here for a moment onto your side to give your body the time to adjust. Bring your circulation back to normal after you've had the legs up. And then slowly come back up and come into a seated position. The reason we had the bolster a little bit away from the wall is we are looking with legs up the wall pose, not touching the sit bones against the wall to get into a hamstring stretch. We want to use the inversion. The blood flow is coming back, the fluids are flowing down, and just bring more oxygen into your torso, towards your brain. Give your heart a break, not a break, but kind of relax and heal and soften. Thank you very much for practicing this short legs up the wall, listening or practicing the tutorial together with me. Next week I'm going to put a short practice for you together with the two poses I've already introduced to you, and we're adding Shavasana to it, so it's going to be a 25 to 30 minute class. I hope to see you again next week. Subscribe to my channel if you want to get an email anytime I'm posting a new video. To make sure that you get an email each time, you have to hit the bell icon close to the subscribe button. Give me a thumbs up if you liked the video, and leave me a message. How did you feel after legs up the wall? And if you are maybe practicing restorative yoga, leave me a note. What is your favorite pose? Thank you very much for practicing with me today. Namaste.